Good morning, my name is Christelle from France de Klerk, Independent Technical Analyst. The first one on our list is Standard Bank. The share is caught within a rising wedge formation, and that is usually a negative formation should this lower band change into a resistance. But we can assume that as long as this lower line, this lower band remains a support, the share will rise again, test the upper band, find resistance and retrace again. Now this lower band will change into a resistance when there is not enough buyers to keep this share above this support line. So at the moment we can see the share is nicely oversold, which makes the probability for a bounce to higher levels more likely. And that likelihood is increased when there's a positive divergence, when that blue line, the percentage K line, breaks upwards through the orange line, which is percentage D line. Now we want to buy a share when it is oversold, right? Because we want that probability for higher levels to be more likely. And we can see that, the share pulled back nicely. It's trading at the moment below that 40-week moving average, that red line, which represents the long-term sentiment gauge, which tells me that at the moment the long-term sentiment towards the share is negative. But these are weekly graphs, and we can see that last week's candle is a beautiful harami candle. Now that candle represents indecision, but it was followed this week with a belt hold line candle, which clearly highlights that the buyers were keen to take the share from this week's opening, which was almost at the same level as last week's close, and lift the share price to higher levels. And that is positive. We are at the moment trading above last week's high, which is a clear resistance at 174.64. So with this oversold situation, a beautiful positive belt hold line candle, I would say that this might be an opportunity to accumulate Standard Bank at the moment. It can maybe go back to test the 40-week moving average. That is a clear level of resistance that can act as a target for the share, and that is waiting at 192.17, or even as high as this upper band. So depending on how long it takes the share to get there, it might go and test these higher levels at 212.31. But if the share starts to lose steam and we start to see lower highs, you can make that decision to bank profit accordingly. The stop loss that you can use is 157.43, or even if you want a closer stop loss, that's horizontal line waiting at 160 Rand and 9 cents. Beautiful oversold situation with a turnaround candle and caught within a negative formation, but if you are keen to maybe use it for a bounce, this is a Standard Bank is one of the shares that Kevin highlighted to us that one can have a look at. Discovery. Ticker on our exchange, DSY. Also a share that is very oversold at the moment. A positive divergence with that blue line breaking upwards. And again, very important here is that strong support that waits at 102.61 on Discovery that was tested and remained a support in these weeks at the end of September and beginning of October of 2022 and going back to July 2020. Every time the share got there, it found support and bounced. But that highlights that implies to us that as soon as the share reached those levels, it acts as a magnet for buyers to say, listen, at these levels, I see value here, and the market then starts to accumulate this share. What is important this time around, after the pullback, Discovery found support at a higher level than 102.61. The low of the week of the 15th of April was 107 Rand and 12 cents. And that implies optimism. That tells me I'm starting to see higher lows. Every time the share reaches a low point, the low is a little bit higher than the previous time. And that is seen as positive. Also very important, a beautiful positive belt hold line candle. The low of this week is 112 Rand 25, and the high of last week was 113.67. Beautiful, tested those 112, 113 levels, found support, and now it's working on a possible spinning candle. Keep in mind, these are weekly graphs, so I can only say that this candle will be complete, or I can make my final decision when Friday's market close. When the market closes at 5, I can say, listen, my candle is now complete, and I make the decision on the following Monday. Some people preempt it, make the decision beforehand. Nothing wrong with that. I would use 102.61 as a clear protection level if you want to consider this as a buy opportunity. Obviously, strong levels of resistance is the highs of the candles, and very important, my 40-week moving average, which waits at 134.85. And have a look. Since I'll give you the timeline now, but look at this. The shares tried for weeks to go and test that 40-week moving average, but there was just not enough buyers to lift that share price to test the 40-week. And even in these couple of 4 or 5 weeks, the share tested the 40-week moving average. From the week of the 11th of December of last year, the share tested the 40-week, tested, could not find enough buyers to lift it above the 40-week, and very important, keep it above the 40-week moving average. It tested it again on the 29th of January, technical good buyers, tested it, could not change it into a support, and we saw a massive retracement since then. But this might be the turnaround that we're waiting for, and oversold levels at the moment. Kabogo, you've got something going here at the moment with Discovery. Woolies, ticker on our exchange WHL. Also, everybody wanted to have a look at oversold shares this week. Anyway, Woolworths, beautiful oversold levels. These are the places, these are the trends that we want to move into and buy and accumulate shares when it is oversold, when that elastic band, because the stochastic indicator is nothing than a representation of an elastic band, how stretched to the side is, how overbought it is, how saturated it is with buyers, or how saturated it is with sellers. So at the moment, with an oversold situation, I say, listen, my sellers are drying up, and I think this might be an opportunity for buyers to come along. And if that is combined with a positive turnaround pattern or turnaround candle, that is the place when you want to accumulate. So last week's beautiful bullish engulfing candle, up 4.65%. It covered more than 60% of the preceding candle, which was in the week of the 15th of April. That was positive. So at the moment, trading at 59.29, above that strong support, the horizontal support line that waited on the 29th of May 2023. And if interesting, we are at the same time during the year, and again the share found support on 58.24 and it's trading above it at the moment. I would say we can assume that the momentum to the top will continue as long as that level remains a support. Very important. This might become a double top formation, right? If 58.24, if that support level starts to change into a resistance, we can say, ladies and gentlemen, there's a double top in play at the moment. Be very careful. A double top highlights or introduces the top of the share and is hinting that from now we are going to start to see selling pressure and downside. But at the moment we are above 58.24. It does not mean we're out of the woods yet. The warning of the double top will only be completely off the table once these upper loops, once these upper resistance levels waiting at 1896, only when those levels starts to change into a support do I say my double top, the warning of the double top is off the table. But with such oversold situation, turnaround, bullish engulfing candle, this might be an opportunity for a bounce to go and test maybe the 40-week moving average again at around 67.57. Beautiful bullish engulfing candle there, and a beautiful support on the 58.24. If we go back, let's just maybe highlight there this previous strong support other than 58.24 is waiting at 52 Rand and 5 cents. Look at how this level was tested time and time again and remained a support all the way through, coming back from March 2022 all the way back to the 29th of August 2022, kept on testing 52.05. It could find enough buyers to keep it a support. It could find enough buyers to keep it a support. But in that week of the 29th of August 2022, it was clear. I mean, the share was up 13.23% that week. And I mean, could attract enough buyers to just lift it back to go and test all of that record high back in Feb 2023 at 80 Rand of 47. 52.05 is the line in the sand I would draw to make sure you protect capital if you want to consider making use of that oversold situation. Old Mutual, a share that might have frustrated some of our investors at the moment. Also oversold territory, beautiful positive divergence. What does that mean? The probability of therefore upside is likely. Now, very important, like in Discovery's case, have a look here. Susan, at the moment, my support here is a little bit higher than the support here. And that was in the week of, well, it's actually a couple of weeks, from that week of the 26th of September 2022, and especially in the week of the 10th of October 2022. Old Mutual went and tested 9 Rand 35 and kept it as support ever since. Now this time around, we've got a beautiful higher lows on the last three lower shadows of my candles. That implies optimism. And as I've said, the support that the share found in the week of the 15th of April, that low is 9 Rand 95, is a little bit higher than this 9.35. And that implies higher lows. That is seen as positive. So it will be it's critical for Old Mutual to keep 9 Rand 35 a support, and especially that low of 9.95. So maybe we can see, maybe the share can attract some buyers with this oversold situation and go and test the 40-week moving average again that waits at 12 Rand and 3 cents. Also a critical level that was tested since that week of the 11th of September, just hovered around it, fought it. Tested it again on the 11th of March of this year, could not change it into a support, and that's when the selling pressure came and took the share back to the low of 9.95. Beautiful graph at the moment. Let's hope that the buyers continue to find favor here and it get, see that this might be an opportunity to accumulate or maybe add to previous positions if they are down more than 40 or 45% on the share in order to better their average price. The Foschini Group. The Foschini Group, I want to change this into a line graph because again, the Foschini Group is caught within a rising channel. Now that is in essence a negative formation. Why? Because if that, or when that lower band starts to change into a resistance, it normally sparks profit taking, and we can see the share retracing further. But at the moment, we can see that this level, this lower band, waiting there at 92.91 on a line graph, attracted enough buyers to keep it a support. Enough buyers made use of this oversold situation, along with a positive divergence, to say, hey, we want to protect this lower band, and maybe we can see a bounce here to go back to the 40-week moving average at 103 Rand 21, or even the upper band of this rising channel, waiting at 118.45. Oversold situation, beautiful support on this lower band. Let's see how high this share can bounce. If you want to use a stop loss or protection, you can use the low of last week, which is 91 Rand 11. That might be a little bit too tight. Or even 87.56, which is the strong support that comes from the week of the 12th of June until the 26th of June. Beautiful, again, an oversold situation here that where investors can maybe make use of a bounce. If we change this, we can see on this candle graph how important, again, that 40-week moving average is represented by that red line. Because in the week of the 8th of April, the share tested the 40-week, could not change and keep it into a support, and then started to retrace from it. So a critical level, 103.21, that hopefully will attract enough buyers, hit the sellers in the face, and starts to see higher levels from this going forward. Don't forget to send through your request via email to admin@fransdeklerk, or via Twitter, via Messenger, or any way you choose, to make sure that we discuss your request. Have a fantastic week. Take care.